What is today's date?
29th of
You
October.
gotta speak that louder.
Should I sit up like this?
Yeah, you can come a little closer so we can. Yeah. There we go.
There you go.
All right. Again, I asked the same question.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And what is today's date?
29th of October 2023.
All right. How would you say that in your language? Would it be Swahili or your native Kikuyu language?
Should I start with Swahili?
Speak loud.
Okay. Should I start with Swahili or our native? Let me start with my native.
Native.
Yeah.
Okay.
Omothe mweri 29 mwaka wa 2023 mweri wa ikumi.
That is your native language?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it somewhat exclusive to Kikuyu or Kenyans?
Kikuyu, we have so many tribes in Kenya, but Kikuyu is the largest, and most people have to learn Kikuyu, whether they like it or not, for you to be able to navigate the marketplace.
Kikuyu.
Yeah,
So Kikuyu is a language in itself,
Yeah.
even though it is also a tribe.
Yes.
Okay, good. Thanks for letting me know that.
Yeah.
And then the second language here would be Swahili, is that correct?
Yeah. We are 42 tribes, but there are major tribes. That is Kikuyu, Luo, Luya, Kamba, Karenjin. But there is a language that unifies us all, and that
Okay.
is Swahili.
That is Swahili.
Yeah.
All right.
Like even in our school curriculum, so that there will be unity in terms of language and communication, we have to learn Swahili, which is one subject, and the other one is English, besides your native language.
All right. So basically, there are going to be at least 3 languages.
Yes.
Your native language would be consistent with your tribe.
Good.
And the next priority would be Swahili for Africans.
Yes.
And here, English is spoken as a third language,
Yeah.
even though it takes priority in a certain level
Yeah.
based on the colonialism.
Yes. Kiswahili is unifies even the East African community,
Okay.
because Tanzania as well use Swahili as their main language.
Okay.
And for Uganda, they barely know English, but they have majored on English.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
So like being a Kenyan gives you an upper hand. You can navigate Tanzania market because you know Swahili, and you can as well navigate Ugandan market because you can speak English.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's quite interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah.
So I'm learning something today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next thing we would like to address is your name.
Mm-hmm.
And I am going to ask you to explain about each one of your names.
Mm-hmm.
You have 3 names,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
All right. Give us the clearest pronunciations of your names.
My names are Mary Nyambura Wambui.
All right. Mary comes from parental selection.
Yeah, they selected all the 3 names. Mary is also my grandma's name,
Okay.
and Nyambura was also my grandma's name.
One of your other grandma or the same grandma?
If you are a firstborn in a family, in a Kikuyu setup, if you are a family, the firstborn is usually named after the father's mother, and if it's a boy, it's named after the father's father.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. That's a tradition.
that's the tradition.
And your second name was Nyamburu.
Nyambura.
Yambura
Yeah,
ends with an A.
yeah.
Okay.
hmm
That name was given to you.
As per the season I was born.
All right. So basically, you have your grandmother's name,
And the season.
and you also have the name of the season that you were born in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
What season was that?
A rainy season.
Okay. So Nyambura is indicative
hmm
of a rainy season. So
Yeah.
someone who has the knowledge of being born in a rainy season, or the knowledge of what Nyambura means, they would know right away that you were born in a rainy season.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the rainy season for Nairobi, Kenya?
Okay, seasons change. Usually there were short rains and long rains, and whether they are short or long, short is an indicative that there were no heavy downpours and they did not extend for long. And
Okay.
there are short, long showers, meaning like they took some time before they ended. So, but rain is rain, bottom line.
Okay.
Yeah. So whether it was a shower that lasted for an hour, you wouldn't know, because time and season belongs to God.
Okay.
Yeah. So they capture the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, and that is rain.
All right.
Yeah.
So that rainy season
Mm-hmm.
that you were born in
Mm-hmm.
was the fourth quarter, or the ending of the third quarter of the rainy
Yeah.
season.
Yeah,
Okay.
because you see, like nowadays the season have changed. We expected rains in January, February, March, and then the long rains will be September, October. But times and season have changed.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I was born in that season that there was rain. It might not picture now, like we might be in October and yet there are no rains.
Okay.
But then there were rains. So they captured that moment, whether there was short rains, long rains, but it was, bottom line, there was rain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the third name,
Mm-hmm.
Mambui,
Wambui.
Wambui with
Yes.
a W.
Yes.
Wambui.
Yes.
Okay. That name you were given specifically because of what?
Actually, I should have taken my father's name, but because of growing up, you are given the name after age of 18 when you're taking your identity card.
Okay.
So, and they usually say in Kikuyu, giving birth is not the real thing. The real thing is bringing up the child.
Oh, that's interesting.
Giving birth is, it might be as a moment of pleasure,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't want to take responsibility of the byproduct of that pleasure.
Okay.
That disqualifies you
Oh.
from our native, but it's something that has come up. So I took my identity card with my mom's name because my father was not present growing up.
Okay, now that's interesting. So he lost that privilege, I would
Yes.
say,
Yes,
of allowing his name to continue with
Yes.
his firstborn
exactly.
because he was not there.
He was not present.
Now that's a little bit different from how it is done in the West.
Mm-hmm.
If the father was not there,
Mm-hmm.
then the mother would give the child her last name. If the father was there for the child, then that child would actually receive the father's last name. and last name is what continues.
Yes.
Okay. And even though we do have sometimes middle names, first name, middle name, and last name,
Mm-hmm.
that last name is going to be hereditary. The child would give his child his last name, and so forth and so on. But oftentimes, if that father is not there, that child would get the mother's last name.
Yes.
It is a little bit similar, I would say,
Yeah.
to the way you do it here as well.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of interest that I see in the way children are named here.
Yeah.
You have two very outstanding names.
Mm-hmm.
Well, three, as a matter of fact. All three of your names are very outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
Mary is from your grandmother, one of your grandmothers. And Nyambura is the season,
Yes.
or it is indicative of the season that you were born in.
Yeah.
And your last name, because your dad was not there,
Mm-hmm.
he lost that privilege.
Yes.
And so your mom's name now becomes your last name.
Yeah. And I quit this story with a man in the Bible who had intercourse with a certain lady. And I quit this story with a story I read in the Bible. Maybe I may not like point exactly, but maybe you are well advanced when I point it out. There was this man who was having sexual intercourse with a certain lady, and instead of when it reached the climax, he ejaculated on the ground. You remember?
Yes.
That story? I quit this as a man who would want to enjoy the pleasure but would not want the byproduct that comes up after the pleasure.
Yeah, that was in the line of Judah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. His son did not want to have a child
Yes.
for his brother that had died.
Yes.
And so that's when God did not appreciate that.
Yeah, God was not happy about that.
Okay.
Because there is pleasure. It's a two-way traffic.
Yes.
Pleasure comes with responsibility.
Yes.
And if you don't want responsibility, then you don't understand God's principle. You are not after God's heart.
That's interesting. How you make that coordination, the relationship there.
Yeah.
And that was a true story in a biblical sense.
Yeah.
It was true.
Yes.
All right. So now we are going to take a step further because I really am trying to learn about the Kikuyu traditions and family relationships.
Yes.
And I may want to even inject here a thought that crossed my mind.
Yes.
And the thought was concerning your three sons.
Yes.
And I will go into the details of that later on if the time allows us.
Yes.
This is not just going to be a one-shot deal where we cover everything.
Yes.
Because I have found you to be a very interesting person with a lot of biblical knowledge.
Yes.
I asked you earlier in a conversation, where did you get such depth of the scriptures and the understanding? And of course, you gave me some very interesting understanding how you know so much.
Yes.
And we will like to do a little bit more on that for the benefit of those who we will be talking with. And at this point, I would like to bring in your mom, your dad, your grandmother that is alive, the grandmother that just passed a few months ago,
Yes.
and definitely, we want to, in this early stage of our conversation,
Yes.
to bring in your 3 sons.
Yes.
I also like to get their names clearly stated,
Yes.
because there are great plans we have for the future, how we are going to interact with them and where we want to direct their future.
Okay.
Okay. So you choose which part of this conversation you want to deal with. Do you want to deal with a little bit about your dad, or would you rather concentrate on your grandmothers, those 2 grandmothers, the one that passed and the one that's alive now? You want to talk about them a little bit?
Okay, let me begin with my grandma, because they played quite a role in my growing up. My grandma is born again. She believes in the word of God.
Yes.
And I remember growing up, instead of sleeping with my mom, my grandma would always invite me to her house, and every 3 o'clock in the morning, she would wake me up. And I was young. I didn't know the power of prayer. I was just there obeying because I loved her, and I just there obeying blindly, blind obedience. And she used to cover my head with a white head wrap, and also the shoulders. She used to have a shawl during prayers.
Okay.
So my hair, she would make sure it's 3 a.m. and my eyes are heavy, and she's waking me up, and I'm saying, my grandmother, it's time to sleep, and you're waking me up to pray. So I would obey, wake up, kneel down. There was a mat for prayer. Come out of the bed, go at a specific place, kneel down. It was a gunny bag that just to prevent your knees, because because of the knees and everything. There was a mat, and she would cover my head and cover my shoulders, and I would sleep, and I would say, thank you, my grandma, for singing me lullaby as I sleep.
Okay.
Because I didn't understand the power of prayer. Grandma, why not just let me continue with my sleep? You are there waking me up, and I would find myself, instead of kneeling down, I'm sleeping now flat. because she would take long prayers, and I'm saying, oh, I would rather just, and because I would take advantage of her eyes are closed, so she can barely see what is going on.
Okay.
So like I was inducted by fire, by force, into being in the way God's want. I would not even understand all these things because I'm young and I'm a babe, but I really give God all glory because now I understand the power of prayer, and because God honors his people, and people who usually call upon his name, her prayers were not in vain. I have more knowledge of the word of God than I was previously.
Wonderful.
So I really give God glory for her. She was when I look back,
yes,
I may see it as foolishness or some things that are not making sense, but in real sense, she did a very great thing in my life into making me learn the power of prayer, and understanding the word of God.
Yes.
And in as much as I would want to be this naughty young lady, there is a way. And that is why I usually tell my friends, when I get an opportunity,
Mhm.
teach your children the ways of the Lord, and they will
Yes.
not get out of them when they grow up. So
Very, very interesting.
yeah, so I really, really appreciate my grandma. My other grandma, who really, that is the one I'm named after. She
Okay.
was epitome in my growing up. My other grandma, who just passed on, belongs to my mom's side, and she was also born again, and with my grandfather. And may she rest in peace. She was promoted to glory a few months ago, maybe a month or two, and she too believed in God, together with my grandpa, and she was granted just one child,
Wow.
and it was a son.
Okay.
And to make it worse, like, this son also died, and he was left. They were left. My grandfather and my grandma were left without a child.
Wow.
But they had to take care of, and my uncle died, and my aunt also followed up. It was like chaos or something, but we didn't understand everything.
Okay.
But my grandma took up the duty of bringing up the grandchildren,
Yes.
as though they were hers.
Okay.
And there were so many in the family. Like, sometimes God works in a miraculous way.
Yes.
I'm sure when they were trying with my grandfather to get another child, God was there observing. There is a generation that
Mm-hmm.
I am preparing for you.
Yes.
So there is no point of murmuring and complaining. If God grants you one child, He has given you a generation to take care of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So she was a lady of faith, and I remember she passed on 81 years of age, 65 years of not taking any medicine or going to any hospital,
Wow.
even when COVID was there. And I learned a lot, because they don't shake hands. Their lifestyle is, I will not say religion, their lifestyles is, you don't shake hands, you don't hug. If you want to converse, sit there, use your mouth to converse, deliver the point, and it's all done.
Wow.
And when I was growing up, I thought they were so weird. Why we are family? Why not shake hands? Why not hug? Why not embrace this Western way of lifestyle?
Yes.
And until COVID hit,
Yes.
even your own husband, you are telling them to wash with sanitizer.
Yes.
Because they might be carrying the germs and all these things.
And not knowing it.
No handshake and all these things. And sometimes when I look back, I say, these people were just living before the time.
Yes. That's interesting.
Yeah, it is amazing, because sometimes people are so critical of their lifestyle, especially myself. I was wondering, I am your own. I'm a seed of I'm your seed. I am part of your generation. Why not just shake hand? Why not talk? Why not just... And you're just telling me, when you give them a hand to shake, they tell you, thank you. And they were so weird. And I was wondering, oh my. Okay. And I said, to each their own, until COVID hit, and you realize, wow, it was something we are living that time that would come.
Yes,
Yeah,
indeed.
And it was something that really revolutionized my mind in the way I handle people and take things.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that you've said a mouthful there, Mary.
Mm-hmm.
The Western lifestyle, if you don't shake hands and hug someone, they think you don't have love.
Yes.
But that's not necessarily expressing love.
Mm-hmm.
love is far deeper than that. And the way you grew up and the way you are and the way you converse and the depths of thoughts that I have uncovered as we converse
Yeah.
stirred me at some point to go and do some research and the Kikuyus.
Yes.
And one of the things that had kind of surprised me when I started reading and listening to the history, he said that the Kikuyus, they go back to 15th to 17th century BC. That would, if we take, say, the 15th century BC, that's even 500 years before Israel got a king.
Mm-hmm.
And if we added the 1500
Mm-hmm.
to our time since Christ is 2200, and we are in the
2000.
we are in the 23rd century.
Mm-hmm.
So you add 15 to 23, you're talking about 3,800 years.
That's quite a long time.
And the Kikuyus worshipped one God
Yes.
ever since then and still do today.
Yes.
What can we say about the West compare with the Kikuyus in the East? Because we're in the eastern side of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And in Kenya has been there through these centuries. I also heard a little about when the new form of religion surfaced, or the age of Christ. All right, Christ is noted to have born in BC 5
Mm-hmm.
or BC 3 or something in that area. There's no specific, but the religious or the spiritual depth of the Kikuyus has only increased, it has not decreased. Because you're learning about prayer from your grandmother.
Yeah.
Getting up 3 o'clock in the morning
Yes.
and pray
Yes.
was not originated with her.
Mm-hmm.
It is something inherent. She received that from her parents or grandparents,
Yeah.
and passed that on, and felt as a little girl, you staying with her, she should teach you that, the power of praying. And if we talk with people today about where do they get the power of prayer, is it getting up 6 o'clock in the mornings, rushing to get a quick prayer in, get ready to go get a bus or get some public transport to go to their work and so forth? Very many people don't even find the time to really pray.
Yeah.
So learning from an early stage of your life to start praying early in the morning, 3 o'clock was the time your grandmother woke you up to pray.
Yes.
And you still, I have heard you pray, and the depth of your prayer really moves me with admiration.
Yeah.
and I thank God for that. We are going to terminate this side of our introduction in order to make space for our further conversation,
Yeah.
which would be part 2.
All right.
All right.